Good morning, everyone. Today we'll discuss the new chapter called as single phase induction motor. Okay, so we have discussed three phase induction motor in previous classes. So that is three phase induction motor we have discussed. So what is single phase induction motor? So what is the difference between three phase and single phase induction motor? In three phase induction motor, what happens? We have three individual windings are connected in 120 degree apart, and the rotor is placed in between the stator with some air gap. So within that there is a rotating magnetic field that is produced in case of three phase induction motor. Okay, this rotating magnetic field that is produced because of a three phase, that is the three fluxes are produced in 120 degree apart, right? That is phi r and phi y and phi b. In case of three phase induction motor, the rotating magnetic field is produced. This rotating magnetic field is responsible for rotation of rotor in case of three phase induction motor. But in single phase induction motor we have only one phase, so it consists of one winding. How the EMF, the rotating magnetic field that is produced in the single phase induction motor, that is the question here. Okay, so we'll go through the brief introduction now, then we will discuss how the rotating magnetic field or revolving magnetic theory, there's a theory behind the single phase induction motor we will discuss. Okay, so now, so what is single phase induction motor? The induction motor, it works on a single phase, so that is AC supply, single phase AC supply. So that motor you can call it as single phase induction motor. Okay, so there are numerous applications of single phase induction motors. So they are used in some toys, small toys, and small fans, hair dryers, etc. Okay, fan, washing machine, so many daily using devices in the home application to the industrial application. Okay, so in fact, so the fractional kilowatt to fractional means in terms of point 0 to 0.25 kilowatt, like, so fractional kilowatt to kilowatt. So these are obtained from fractional kilowatt range or rating. Okay, so the product of manufacturer of space vehicles, so these are also some application. Aircraft, business machines, and some power tools. So these are the some of the applications of single phase induction motor. So what are the types of induction motor, single phase induction motor, or classification of single phase induction motor? So that is can discuss what are the classifications of induction motor. So induction motor uh, or a single phase AC motor having different types of classification. So in that first one is induction motor. So these are the classification of single phase induction motor. So in that first one is induction motor. It consists of split phase induction motor. In induction motor, these are the classification of AC motor. In that classification, we have single phase induction motor. So in that single phase induction motor, there are several types. Split phase induction motor, capacitor start and capacitor run induction motor, and shaded pole type induction motor. So these are the classification of induction motor. Apart from the induction motor, the AC motors are repulsion motors and AC series motor and unexcited synchronous motors. So these are the different classification of single phase motors. Okay. So now we will discuss about what is how the revolving theory behind the single phase induction motor, how rotating magnetic field that is produced in the single phase induction motor, that is to be discussed. So and before that, look together construction of single phase induction motor. What are the construction? It also consists of stator part and also rotor part. So for starting, the capacitor is used, that is connected with the starting winding. Okay, and there are two different windings are there here, starting winding and running winding. And this is the rotor part and this is the stator part. Okay, inside we have bearings are provided, cooling fan is there. Okay, bearing housing is there, rotor part is there, armature winding that is also there, and stator winding and stator part and motor shaft and the frame or yoke. So outer body can called as frame or yoke. So these are the constructional features of the single phase induction motor. So now, so we'll discuss about a very important concept called double field revolving theory. So what is that double field revolving theory? So according to this theory, an alternating quantity can be resolved into two opposite rotating vectors. So we'll consider this is one rotating vector initially at figure A. So there is a rotating vector A and rotating vector B. There are two vectors are there here. So these vectors, considering both are in opposite direction. Okay, so A vector rotating in anti-clockwise direction and B vector is rotating in clockwise direction. Okay, so with a half magnitude. Okay, so that is the flux is phi m. So A vector rotating with a half magnitude means that is the pi m divided by 2, and B vector is also rotating half magnitude, that is called as pi m by 2. Accordingly, an alternating sinusoidal flux can be represented by two revolving fluxes. So this is one revolving flux and this is another revolving flux, each equal to the of the values of the according alternating flux and each rotating synchronously. So synchronous speed. So what is the synchronous speed equation? Ns is equal to 120 F divided by P. Right? So both are in synchronous speed within opposite direction. Okay. So let me consider now the figure A. The figure A represents figure A. In that figure A, the alternating flux have a maximum value of flux pi m. This is the maximum value of flux pi m. Its component fluxes, that is flux A and flux B, will each will be equal to the pi m by 2 and pi m by 2. So revolving in anti-clockwise directions. Okay, so both are in opposite direction. One is A is in anti-clockwise and B is in clockwise direction respectively. After some time, so what happened when A and B would have rotated through a some angle, so it will rotate the A vector. Hello, now it is audible.
Yes, sir.
So what happens? So this A vector and B vector are rotating with some angle theta now. Okay, so like this. So that is represented in figure B. Okay, that is represented in figure B. So look here. So A vector, so it rotates with angle plus theta degree, and B vector it will rotates with angle minus theta degree. Okay, and vector summation of A and B, we will get the resultant vector. Vector summation of A and B will give the resultant vector. So we will take pi r, that is resultant vector pi r is equal to 2 times of, there are two vectors are there, into each vector having pi m by 2 and pi m by 2, that is the magnitude. So pi m divided by 2 and rotating with an angle. So therefore we will consider cos of, that is this is one theta and this is another theta. So two angles are there, 2 theta by 2. So what happens now? The vector summation between these two. So this two get cancelled and this two get cancelled. So resultant flux is equal to pi m cos theta. So therefore resultant vector is pi m cos theta. Okay, that is represented in figure B. Now after a quarter cycle, so next, so you consider this cycle, so 0 degree, so this is 90 degree, 180 degree, 270 or 360 like that. So because this is the sinusoidal waveform is there, according to this, so next quarter cycle, so what happens, both are in equal in magnitude, both A vector and B vector are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Okay, so A is pi m by 2 and B is also pi m by 2. So what about the resultant here? In this case, pi r becomes 0 because both are exactly equal and opposite. So therefore, in this case, the pi r is equal to 0. Okay. Next, after that, what happens? Coming to the figure number D. Okay. So again quarter cycle. Again it will rotate. So A will come here. A will come here. A vector and B vector will come here. So this is figure D is exactly opposite to the figure A. So in figure A, what we have got, the resultant vector is plus pi m. In the figure D, the resultant vector will get as a minus pi m. So because, so here pi r is equal to minus 2 times of pi m divided by 2. So this will use minus of pi m. Okay. So that is the resultant in case of figure number D. So coming to the figure number E, again what happened? A comes to the downward, B comes to the upward. Both are in opposite direction, right? So this is exactly equal to the figure C. But in figure C, B vector is downward and A vector is upward. In figure E, that is opposite to this, B vector is upward and A vector is downward. But what about the resultant vector here? So both are pi m by 2, equal and opposite. So pi r resultant vector is also equal to 0. Okay. So likewise 0 to 360, the flux will be revolving around the air gap. So we will get the rotating magnetic field here. Okay. So what happens? So theta is equal to 0 to 360 degree. Then a curve is similar to shown, that is figure number F. So 0 degree to 360 degree. So we will obtain the flux, sinusoidal flux. So with the rotation of theta. Okay. So this is obtained. That's why an alternating flux can be composed into two revolving fluxes. So each of the flux values are revolving synchronously in opposite direction. Both are in opposite direction. So it may be noted that if the slip of the rotor, so what is slip? Slip is equal to ns minus n divided by ns, right? The slip of the rotor, that is represented by s. So S with respect to the forward rotating flux, and then there are two rotating fluxes are there. One is forward rotating flux, another one is backward rotating flux. Okay, so in both the cases we need to calculate the slip, forward rotating flux and slip at forward rotating flux and slip at backward rotating flux. So therefore slip at forward rotating flux so that is given by, that is represented by SF, slip at forward rotating flux. So this is equal to ns minus n divided by ns. So this is given by, so we will write it as ns by ns minus n by ns. Ns this get cancels, right? So this will use 1. So 1 minus n by ns, or we can write it as n by ns take outside. So this is equal to 1 minus s. So this is equal to sf, right? So therefore, in slip at forward rotating flux, so this is equal to 1 minus s. Okay, that is n by ns, the ratio of rotor speed to the synchronous speed, that will use 1 minus s. So similarly, slip at backward rotating flux, so that is given by, so this is exactly opposite. So therefore, it is represented by SB. SB means slip at backward rotating flux. So this can be given by NS minus. So backward rotating is rotor is rotating in opposite direction. Therefore, take minus of n, so divided by ns. So this will becomes 1 plus n by ns. So this is equal to 1 plus 1 minus s. So this will become 2 minus s. So in this case, n by ns is equal to 2 minus s. Okay. So slip at forward rotating flux. So we will get 1 minus s, that is the ratio n by ns. And in slip at backward rotating flux, so n by ns ratio will get 2 minus s. Okay. So each of two component fluxes is revolving round the stator. So what happens? It will induce an EMF. It will induce an EMF, and this is produce the own torque. Will produce the own torque. Obviously, what happens? A two torque called forward torque, another one is called as backward torque. There are two torque will be obtaining. One is forward torque and another one is backward torque, TF and TB. So both torque are oppositely directed, so that net torque is equal to the difference of this torque. So the total torque, that is proportional to the, so difference of this torque, okay, forward torque and backward torque. So that is shown in this diagram. So look here, torque slip characteristics. So in that torque with slip, so this is 0 point. So this is the clockwise direction on this side. This is the anti-clockwise direction. So forward speed, that is called as clockwise direction, that is taken as positive, and backward direction, that is the backward speed, this is taken as negative. So therefore there are two torques obtained, one is the TF and TB, forward torque as well as backward torque. So forward torque, so these two torques are represented in the dotted lines, forward torque and backward torque, and summation of these curves, so it means difference of these curves, so this will give the resultant torque. Okay, so you can draw the resultant torque like this. So at n is equal to 0, the torque is also 0 according to this curve. So whenever the speed is 0, so therefore the resultant torque is 0 in this case. Okay, and when the speed is ns, so it will rising like this in the positive direction and again come back to 0 here, and also in negative direction also the backward torque is there, so therefore the resultant of this, so you will get a curve like this. This is the torque slip characteristics of single phase induction motor. So from this curve we can conclude that, so n is equal to 0. When we will get n is equal to 0? N is equal to 0 means it is at the time of starting, right? At the time of starting, speed is 0, right? So speed is 0, and in this case torque is also 0. Your torque is also 0. The resultant torque here is also 0. So hence from this diagram, so we will get the motor is not self-starting. Motor is not self-starting. So from the double field revolving theory, we get the conclusion that the single phase motor is not self-starting according to the double field revolving theory. So how to make the single phase motor self-starting? So that is the challenging question here. How to make the motor self-starting? Because n is equal to 0, torque is 0 here, right? torque is 0. There is no starting torque. So there is no starting torque means, so how we can start the motor? Okay, so that is the question here. So we make the induction motor self-starting. Okay, because these are the very less range motor, low range motors, the ratings are very less, that is used in the single phase induction motor. So making single phase induction motor as a self-starting. So how we can make it as self-starting? So that is by providing two windings. So look at this diagram. So there are two windings are there. One is main winding, another one is starting winding. Okay. So main winding is called as the running winding. It is called as running winding, and starting winding is also called as auxiliary winding. Okay. So this is the rotor. So in that stator itself, there are two types of windings. One is main winding, that is also called as running winding. Another one is called as starting winding, that is called as auxiliary winding. So how we can connect these two windings to obtain the motor self-starting, as well as the motor has to be rotating, a revolving theory that is to be provided. For that, a single phase induction motor, so that is not a self-starting. To overcome this drawback, the motor, we have to make it as a self-starting. It has a self-starting. So for that, so temporarily we need to convert into two-phase motor. Okay, so if you want to obtain revolving mechanism, so only one phase is not sufficient. Okay, so there must be at least two phase is required for rotation. Okay, so you already know in three-phase induction motor there is a three-phase rotating magnetic field is present. Because of this, so the motor is rotating. Okay, but in case of single phase, only we have a single phase, so it is not possible to produce a revolving mechanism using one phase of winding. So for that purpose, temporarily we will make it as two phase winding. How we can make it as two phase winding? Using a single phase machine. Okay, so that is by using, we have to split the phases, that is important. Splitting the phases, splitting the phases of single phase, so we make it as two individual phases temporarily. So that is called as a two phase motor. So during the starting period, so this is only for during the starting period. For this purpose, a stator of single phase induction motor is provided with extra winding known as starting winding. Extra winding called as starting winding, also called as auxiliary winding. And in addition to this, there is a main winding is there. This is called as running winding. So now what happens? The two windings are spaced 90° apart. One is starting and another one is running. So these two windings are placed 90° apart. Okay. So electrically, not mechanically. So 90° electrical. Okay. So angle between starting winding and running winding, that is angle between these two is 90° apart. It means the phases are split in terms of 90°. Okay, so in three phase, how we are placing? In three phase, the windings are provided electrically 120° apart, right? 120° apart in case of three phase, but in case of single phase, So we will make two windings, that is provided with 90-degree electrical apart. So that is the difference between the three-phase as well as induction and single-phase induction motor construction. Okay. So it is so arranged that the phase difference between the current in the two stator windings, that is very large, that is ideally 90-degree, hence the motor behaves like a two-phase motor. Motor behaves like a two-phase motor. So these two currents produces a revolving flux. So for rotation what we require? Revolving flux. The flux is to be rotating. So that is called as, in between stator and rotor, the flux has to rotate initially. That is the flux, resultant flux. So that is called as revolving flux. In case of three-phase induction motor, we will call it as rotating magnetic field. So that is the same pi r. We can call it as in three-phase rotating magnetic field. In single phase, we will call it as revolving flux. It means it is a rotating flux, not motor rotation, flux rotation. Okay. So to produce this revolving flux, at least we require two phases. Okay, at least we require two phases. For that purpose, we will make a single phase induction motor is converted into two phase induction motor. Okay, by splitting the phases. So how we can split the phases? By making it two different windings are connected 90-degree apart. Okay, that is one is starting winding, another one is running winding. So by making this arrangement, so we will convert single phase induction motor into three phase. So input we are giving only single phase itself. Input is given, that is single phase itself. Okay, but it is temporarily converted into two phase and for rotation purpose. Okay, this is the actual theory behind the induction, single phase induction. Okay, so any doubt regarding this? So how today we have discussed about single phase induction motor and types of single phase induction motor and how the double field revolving theory. Why it is double field? There are two fields are there, are in opposite direction. Number A and number B. Okay, so that is the phase A and phase B. That is the flux A and flux B. There are oppositely rotated, that is oppositely revolving or rotating. So hence it is called as double field revolving field. So two fields are obtained because of two windings. One is main winding, another one is starting winding. Is it clear? Any doubt regarding this? The concept is clear. So what is single phase induction motor and what are the types of induction motor, single phase induction motor, and how the constructional features are provided in the induction motor, and what are the applications of single phase induction motor, and also finally, so how the rotating magnetic field is produced in single phase induction motor. That is very important concept. So this is so many times asked in the examination, right? So how, what is the double field revolving theory in case of single phase induction motor? So using that double field revolving theory, so there are two torques are obtained. So from that two torques, forward torque and reverse torque or backward torque, so we'll get a final curve. So that is called as resultant torque. Okay. So this is called as double field revolving theory of the three-phase induction. Is it clear? Shall we continue? Momina Kausar?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt regarding this?
No, sir.
Bharatunisa?
Yes, sir.
Natashri,
Yes, sir.
till time is there. Okay, we'll continue. So next we'll move towards the split phase induction motor. So what is split phase induction motor? So take this diagram, split phase induction motor. So this is the circuit diagram, figure A. So this is figure B. This is the rotor and stator constructional diagram, and figure C. So it is represents the vector diagram. Vector diagram. So in this case, in this motor, stator winding has two windings, right? So one is main winding, second one is starting winding. Main winding and starting winding. So starting winding is also called as auxiliary winding, and main winding is also called as running winding. So in this case, so the construction of main winding and starting winding. So in main winding or running winding, the resistance is very low in case of main winding, and reactance, that is XL, that is high in case of main winding. In case of starting winding, opposite. So resistance is high and low reactance. XL is less. Okay. So these are important factor we need to know about the constructional feature of a split phase induction motor. The resistance of the starting winding, that is, may be increased by either connecting high resistance, that is R, in series with it. So if you want to increase the resistance of the starting winding, so for that purpose, so how we can increase the resistance of the starting winding? So starting winding is, that is, increasing the resistance by providing a external resistor here connected in series. So we can increase the resistance of the starting winding. So that's why the starting winding resistance is increasing. Okay. So now, by choosing a high resistance, that is by using a copper wire for the winding purpose, that is used in this wire. So therefore, let's consider two currents are flowing here. One is IM, another one is IST. IM is the main current, that is the motor current that is flowing through the main winding, and IST is the starting current that is flowing through the starting winding. The total current I is divided into two parts. One is IM and another one is IST. Okay. So now, so we will take a reference of voltage vector as a reference, and initially the current, starting current, that is flowing through the starting winding. So it is lagging behind the supply voltage V. So therefore this is called as IS. So then IM is, that is the motor current. So it is having a low resistance and high reactance. XL is high means obviously you will get more phase angle. Okay, whenever the resistance is high, so the voltage and current almost on the same phase. Okay, if it is a pure resistive circuit, voltage and current are in the same phase. If resistance is going to be decreasing, if a reactance is increasing, what happens? Reactance is increases, then you will get an angle. So if how much, if you increase the reactance, you will get the angle is also going to be large. Okay, so compare here. In case of main winding, XL is high. So XL is high means, so lagging. So the angle between the voltage and current IM is more compared to the voltage and IS, because IS having a high resistance, reactance is less, so it is almost nearer to the unity, right? So therefore the angle between voltage V vector and starting current vector is very less. So now we will get two currents, one is starting current, another one is running current, that is the main current. So vector summation of these two. So because the total current I is equal to vector current I is equal to Im plus Ist, right? So vector summation. So therefore the total current I is equal to Im plus Ist. So look at the diagram also. So we will get Im plus Ist. Okay, Im plus Ist, this will use the total current I. So this is about the vector diagram. So therefore the angle between Is and Im, so this is represented as alpha. So this angle is called as alpha, and angle between voltage and current, so this angle is called as pi. This angle is called as pi. Okay. So now the current Ist drawn by the starting winding, that is lagging behind the applied voltage V, and a small angle, whereas current Im takes the main winding, that is lagging behind the V by a large angle. So one is large angle, one is small angle. So phase angle between Is and Im, that is represented as alpha. Okay, so here the two phases are split, hence it is called as split phase induction motor. The two phases are split, hence it is called as split phase induction motor, proportional to the sine alpha. Proportional to the sine alpha. So therefore a centrifugal switch, so this S is taken here, a switch is called as centrifugal switch. So that is connected in series with the starting winding. So the function of this switch, so that is, it is automatically disconnect from the starting winding at the time of running. At the time of starting, only this centrifugal switch is connected to the circuit. The total starting winding, it is connected at the time of starting purpose only. Hence it is called as starting winding. At the time of running winding, this switch is opened. So total this circuit is disconnected, starting circuit is disconnected. The only main winding is present across the supply voltage. So you will get the rotor, you will get the flux through the main winding itself. Okay, so hence this is called as centrifugal switch. So there is an automatic switch that is get open at the time of running. Okay, hence it is called as only starting winding. Starting winding is connected at the time of only starting purpose only, right? So this is the function of centrifugal switch. So what happens when the motor has reached 70 to 80% of full load speed? Full load speed. Okay, so the centrifugal switch, it will disconnect. So the current Im and Ist are splitted from each other by angle alpha. At starting, the motor is commonly called as That is the split phase motor. Some of the applications of the split phase motor are, I will write some of the applications. So it is a low starting current and moderate starting torque. So because of this, it is used in fans, blowers, grinders, some centrifugal pumps. Also, it is used in washing machines, some oil burners. So it is available in the range of, these are the applications available in the range of 1 by 20 kilowatt to half kilowatt. Okay, so this is available in this range. So this is about split phase induction motor. This is about split phase single phase induction. In next class we will discuss about the uh, capacitor start and capacitor run induction motor in the next class. I hope all of you get the clear from the today's class, got the concept from the today's class. So what we have discussed in single phase induction motor, types of single phase induction motor, double field revolving theory we have discussed. Okay, and also uh, one type, that is split phase induction motor. So in examination you may ask construction and working principle, explain the construction and working principle of split phase induction motor. So go through the right all the diagrams and mention the theory part, construction part, and how it is working. So along with the phasor diagram, we explain this and mention the applications of the split phase induction motor. So next class we will discuss about further things, that is capacitor start and capacitor induction motor. Okay, so we will end the session. So thank you very much. We will discuss tomorrow. Thank you.